Alright, so here we go everybody. This is gonna be video one of the streaming on Twitch tutorial. It's all good. SCC. I'm gonna go ahead and go through each process here. So I get asked on, I want to say a regular basis, at least once every day or something like that when I'm streaming. I'm pretty sure there are streamers out there who get asked the same thing, and some do put up a tutorial, some don't. I'm going to show you the way how I set up my stream, so that way when you get to putting your own together, you know what you want and things of that nature, what works for you, what doesn't, and yeah, so on and so forth. So first things first, let me go ahead. I'm going to move a couple of icons of this side of the screen so that I can show you the full skedaddle, so to speak. Okay, so here we go. I am actually going to a monitor capture, and I'll show you how to do this as well. Capture the mouse cursor, that's cool. And we're gonna do that. Oh, not monitor one, no. Monitor two. Because it's cleaner. There we go. Alright, so folks, here's what everything looks like. Let me go ahead and move this out the way as well. So, minimize that. Alright, so, this is what your desktop like using OBS. I'm going to turn that off because I don't need much for this right now. So here's everything. Oh shit, that was bad. That was a bad idea. Okay. So right here you have OBS, right? I use OBS for when I stream because it's, I wouldn't say the simplest, but it is the best bang for your buck, which is free. OBS will allow you to set up multiple scenes, allow you to add multiple sources to each scene. You can record in stereo. You can also use multiple sources for webcams, cameras, and whatnot. So if you have like a multiple person stream in your home and you want to broadcast everyone's your stream, you can do that. All you have to do is just make sure that every camera has a connection to your computer, whether it's by Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or USB. It also allows you to set up for different settings for sound and everything else. This tutorial right now, I'm going to show you how to set it up for streaming altogether. Alright, so we need to set up OBS for your first time. All of this is going to be empty. I'm going to show you how to set up is new. You're going to come here to settings, and this is the window that you start off. You're going to start off with a window here that has certain tabs: general, encoding, broad, so on and so forth. You're also going to have, with OBS here, there's a green button right here. That'll be available as well, so that way you can test out your settings before you start streaming. So of course you got your language, and if I wasn't streaming right now, the profile name, you can set it to whatever you want. When you first get OBS, it's going to be set as default. Now, that being said, when it's set at default, you know, it's just a name. That's all it is. But key thing is that if you stream on other services like Hitbox, Instagib, things like that, you're going to change the profile setting name for each one, so that way you don't have to go in and change your keys and whatnot every time you go in. So here we go. First tab is going to be income. Key things that you need to remember about streaming: it doesn't matter what kind of GPU you have, which is your video card. What matters is your upload for your internet and your CPU. Now, can you stream with a weak CPU? Yes. Key thing here is that you're not going to be able to broadcast at a high bit rate for a better a better image. Resolution as well. It just depends on what you're looking to do. Now, as you see here, mine is set up to optimize the maximum amount of bit rate and for the best sound in audio. You do not have to do this. If you send me a message and say, hey, here's my upload, this is the color I have, I can tell you what you need your bit rate and whatnot to be so that you can the best optimized view for your stream. Now, does that mean that you're going to be able to stream at 1080p? No. I'm at 1080p and people complain. Main thing here is that you have to remember, without being partnered, you don't have a transcode. It means that Twitch takes your feed and then they minimize it to their standards. Basically, they compress the living fuck out of it, for lack of better terms. Now, and I set mine up, the encoder is X264, which is going to be high definition. You're going to use CBR padding, and you want to use a custom buffer size. Main reason why I say that is that if you turn off custom buffer size, max bit rate, and your max bit rate and your buffer size are going to be the same thing. So what happens if you hit a spike in performance and the game surpasses that 3500 bit rate? What's going to happen is that OBS is going to say, oh, your max is at 3500, dumb everything down. All right, so if it dumbs down at OBS, it's going to drop frames. And then when it drops frames and by the time it hits Twitch and it gets compressed and put onto your stream, it looks yucky. I can tell you right now, it looks pretty bad. So, the next thing we want to worry about here is making sure you have a buffer size, and your buffer is be at least double of your max bit rate. Your max bit rate, it tells you right here if you hover inside the box and leave it there. This sets the max for video. Note that although, let me put it back in there. Note that although your average bit rate will be at this value, based on your buffer size. So theoretically speaking, you want to have your maximum bit rate as 1/3 of your upload. What happens if your upload is like 5 up, right? In my opinion, you can set it at half so that you can have 720p, which is 2500. With 2500 bit rate, you have a decent resolution. You can set your maximum buffer for your full upload as long as no one is using the upload for something. So like if, let's just say someone is trying to send a file through Skype, or if they're trying to do a Skype call or so, you're streaming. You're not going to be able to do 2500 with a 5K buffer. You're going to need to lower it some. So you're going to be using Skype and try to do a video call at the same time. Odds are you're not going to be able to stream like that. You're going to have to try to figure out one way or what works another way. Now, your audio encoding, pretty much AAC, your bit rate is 128. Format, you can go with 44.1. I like 48. And then you can put it as stereo. If you want to set it at mono, you can. Basically, what'll happen is that you're saying, I want one channel sound going to both speakers instead of a left and right audio. All right, so your next thing, no, we don't want to save change. All right, so the next thing here is your broadcast settings. Your mode is going to be live stream. Now, Tuber, and you want to just record videos using OBS, all you have to do is go to file output only, and it'll go ahead and just create a video later. Your streaming service, That all depends on who you stream it with. I'm setting this up right now for Twitch to help you out for those who want to stream on Twitch. So with the server, it's going to be Twitch. Your server, okay, here's the server list. It's pretty much what is closest to you. I live in Arizona, so San Francisco is going to be the closest to me. Los Angeles could work as well. I get in San Francisco. From there, you know, let me go ahead and put it in Los Angeles. Well, I'll change it later on. So US, here in Europe, here's all the ones, and then Asia, they just have one. Your path key, your play path stream key, you're going to get that from Twitch. Let me open this, go to Twitch. Alright, so when you're on Twitch here, of your username, you're going to click here, go to dashboard. You're going to come up to this window right here. This is going to show you what's going on with your channel and whatnot. A lot of people have this open when they're streaming. Me personally, I don't open any internet windows whatsoever. It's empty. Because your internet browser is going to pull a lot of resources and strain on your CPU. Try to keep it as empty as possible. Alright, I should be saying I'm not playing anything, so I do apologize if y'all joined the channel and it says I'm playing a game. I'm not. I'm just doing a tutorial to basically help people out that come in that ask, hey, how do I set up streaming and whatnot. That's what this is here. Alright, so up here you have your different keys and whatnot. Stats. You know, I never went and looked at stats. Let me see. Ooh, max video plays 100. That was yesterday. Nice. Alright, anyway, what you're going to need is stream key, and then right here you're going to hit show key. It's going to show you a key that you want to use. Whatever you do, do not show it to other people, because if you show it to other people, they can use that key on your channel. You don't want to do that. You want to do this while you're offline, setting it up. You would hit this, you would copy the whole thing that shows up, and after you copy it, you're going to paste it, and pretty much you're going to leave everything else alone. Now, if you want to do a local save for your files, so let's just say save your video for later to edit and whatnot to post on YouTube. What you would do here is that you would save the file, and then you would tell it where to save. So pretty much you click browse, select any folder, whatever. And then you can also tell it to keep recording if live streaming stops. So what does that mean? That means that if you disconnect or if you stop streaming, it's still going to keep recording your gameplay until you tell it to stop. Alright, so if you're going to do that, you're going to need to make sure that you set up hotkeys for each one. Stream, stop stream, blah, 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 blah. Me, I use 2 monitors. These hotkeys will help you out if you're trying to set up for the first time. Well, not first time, but if you're using one, hotkeys are awesome. Because you can set this up F1, F2, F3, F4. So that way, you want to start stream, it should automatically start recording. You wouldn't have to hit that button. You're taking a performance hit. You can hit the key for stop recording without having to minimize your game or whatever it is that you're recording at that time. That's where that'll help out. Otherwise, if you have 2 monitors, you can just set whatever you're playing in window mode on monitor 1, and then come over here to monitor 2, and then click on what you need in OBS. Alright, so the next one is video. Video is how it's going to be broadcasted to Twitch. How is it going to look when it gets there? Video adapter is always your graphics, whatever you're using for graphics, whether it's onboard or a GPU. Your base resolution is your monitor. What is your monitor capable of? Is it capable of 1920 in there? If it's a 4K monitor, you would put that in there. It should automatically recognize it and put it in there for you. It'll also set the aspect ratio for you as well. Your resolution downscale, that's how you're going to broadcast to or whatever streaming service you use. This drop down will show you how it scales downward. So let's just say my upload isn't that great. I have a 1920 by 1080 monitor. It is like, we'll say 4. So that means I could do like around 1800, 1500. So that's going to put me around the 480 range, 540p, something of that nature. So what I would do is that I would come here from the drop down list. I'll look for 540, 480, and then I will select it. So this way, you know, you're not accustomed to try to stream. And then you're also allowing yourself to give the best resolution that you can to your viewers and not lag out your, because if you try to set it at something higher, it'll be very noticeable when it gets played on Twitch. So from here, your filter, oh, hold on, I had it before. All right, so if you're doing HD, bilinear is the normal one that everyone chooses because it's going to allow you to use the least amount, also providing a very decent picture. If you go with bicubic or LAN, they are going to essentially destroy your CPU usage. Can use them. If you have a processor that is like the shit, use those. It'll provide the best picture possible. But in doing that, you're going to use sources. I'm letting you know that right now. So do not change it from bilinear unless you have a solid processor. I myself, I keep it at put it at bicubic and still be okay. I just don't like having my processor run over 55-60%. Key thing here, if you're on Windows 7, disable Aero. Doesn't have Aero. Your FPS, think about the refresh rate of your computer, of your monitor. Most people have 60 hertz monitors, so they could do 60 perfectly fine. If you have a lower bandwidth, go with 30. Go with 25. Whichever would give you the best frame resolution. That's what you want to set it for. If your upload is greater than 6, you can do 60 FPS as long as you don't have any internet browser windows open eating at your CPU. So your next tab here is going to be audio. All right. So audio is pretty much your computer sound. Okay. Where the sound is coming from is going to be used for. So your desktop audio device is your microphone. Well, I'm sorry. Scratch that. Good grief. I can't read. Desktop audio device is where your sound is coming from. Me, I'm using a headset. Use speakers, as long as you have a microphone that has it's well enough distance away from the speakers to where it doesn't pick up feedback, and you're comfortable with I use a Blue Snowball. I tried using external speakers and it was picking them up. Like I don't have much space for everything, so it was picking up everything. but basically all you have to do is do drop down, pick which one you want to use, and then you're good to go. Key thing here is if you have multiple microphones on your, disable them. Here, I'll show you where to go. If you go down here, right click on your audio icon and go to recording devices. It will bring up a window just like this. You disable anything that is not going to be used. If it's not plugged in,
user entered your channel.
You don't have to worry about that.
User left your channel.
If you're going to do, I need to turn off that damn voice. I'll do it later. You still with me, Ray?
I am.
Ray must have stepped away. Oh, there he is. Still over venturing?
I am. Just keeping quiet since you're doing this video.
Oh, it's all good. By the way, that voice there is Warray B. If you ever see him streaming, give him a follow. Alright, so enough of that. Key things that I want to talk about here on this. If you have a lot of background noise, you're going to want to use push to talk. Otherwise, if you have and you got a lot of shit going on in the background, everyone on the stream is going to hear what's going on behind you. Push to talk will eliminate that. I will show you how to use the noise gate here momentarily so that you can leave it and not pick up the background noise that's, you know, low audible, but still a hindrance if you didn't have any kind of filter whatsoever. Another thing that'll help with most microphones is if you have a form on them. For headset mics, they come with it automatically. If not, just put a little piece of foam on top of it. For external microphones, they sell microphone covers that you can put on there to mitigate that sound. Also, the sock. As long as the sock is form-fitting, it'll muffle out some of the sound. Your hotkeys, when you're setting this up, you want to make sure that if you do push to talk, both of these have to be the same button. Do not set them as separate buttons, because if you do, the push to talk would never work. Your delay, 200 milliseconds is on average. That's the norm. The rest of it you can leave alone. Your microphone. If you only have one monitor, keep in mind your mute key, if it is used in game, you will mute your microphone a lot. So try to use a key that is not used in the game that you're playing, or a key that's just not in use, period, that has like 20 million buttons on it. Use a button on there that's not used in game. That's the best thing I can say. Alright, so advanced. The advanced tab here. This is for those need to change something with the setup to make sure that the stream is as good of a quality as possible. You can have a shitty upload and still manage to get great video by changing a few things. The things that I'm going to go over at this point will cover pretty much the standard for streaming. Okay. Everything that you see check marked here, use multi-thread optimizations, allow hotkeys, use CFR. Make sure you have all of those checked. And yes, Sketch, I will be posting this on YouTube. Priority class, always set this at normal. If you set it at high, you're going to have a sluggish performance in the game itself. Not OBS. OBS will run perfectly fine. You want to set it at normal to where the processor can say, okay, everything that's going right now, I'm going to evenly distribute my power to. You want to make sure that you have set up there. Above normal, Above, normal, and high are pretty much going to do the same thing. It's going to say OBS needs more power. More power, most power. You want to set it in normal. Buffering time, 700 milliseconds. Time that the processor is going to process the video and then send it out. If you're streaming on Hitbox, this is key because Hitbox has 0 delay. Your scene buffering time, you want it to be 700 or even 1000. So that relation in your image when it's being at 0 delay there. Your CPU preset, very fast is the norm. If you have issues with your CPU performance, let's just say you did everything that you could do with the buffer rate and everything, and you're still like, you see your CPU is sitting at around 75-80%. Change it from very fast to super fast. That is going to really load off of your processor. Okay, it's going to help your processor be able to say, hey, I don't have to spend all this time processing this video to encode it. I'm just going to make sure that I get a video source out there. This is crucial to stream and just don't have a good enough computer to do it. I mean, when I first started streaming, I had a very, very base AMD quad-core processor. I mean, the thing was, when I first started streaming, it was abysmal trying to keep it at very low because it's like I got great upload, but my processor wasn't working. I set the encoding profile to ultra fast. I had no problem. Granted, it still wasn't awesome picture, but I was streaming at 60 frames. I was still doing at 720, and I had a picture that did not lag. If you set it below, this is going to take more and more and more processor. Okay, this is less, this is more. Keep that in mind. Key interval, keyframe to leave it alone. And like I said, everything else here, just leave this the way you see it here. If you have different numbers, if it's 0, 20, and it's not there, set it for 0, set it for 20, default, you're good to go. Browser, this is for how to use CSS and things like that, Java interfaces. You don't really have to mess with it here because they're pretty much set at a base rate themselves already. You can leave all of this alone. I will change that. I'll make another video to do that for you. Now, here's where the noise gate comes in. If you look at the green bar here, it is showing you, we'll see right here. I'm going to stop talking for about 10 seconds so you can see where it peaks at. Now, it is perfectly quiet in this room. There is no background noise. If my roommate comes in and decides to play League of Legends, he doesn't use a headset. So at that point, I got one or two options. Because League of Legends sound is going to be coming over my gameplay, or two, I can edit it to where the background noise doesn't really affect what I'm doing here. Now, how do you do that, right? You got two sliders here. One is going to show this is your close. So this is where the sound starts to pick up. Your open is 6 decibels above. Okay. Now it tells you here that you want to set the close threshold approximately above the loudest noise level and the open 6 above it. All right. Key word of thought. Let's just say you had an issue where your microphone, you just had too much noise. My voice when I talk is roughly around, I think it's hitting at 15 to 10 decibels at peak. Well, negative, I should say. Main thing you want to make sure that you do here is that slider on the left is above the peak. Not at peak, but above it. And when you talk, that this one, your voice surpasses this one when you talk. That's the best thing that I could tell you to keep it simple. And it's above the noise level, and you keep this, and this is set at 6 above, and this bar surpasses this, your microphone will always work when you stream regardless of the background noise. So I'll show you. Alright. So now I have to talk even louder. Well, not louder. I have to move closer to the microphone so that it can pick up my voice. Very uncomfortable because you pretty much have to be right on top of the microphone. But it can still work. There we go. Not where I had it before, but it's all good. Excuse me. So, with that being said, I'll go ahead and bring my camera back up now. Hey, where my camera? So, at this point, I've shown you how to set up OBS for your first stream. Where you can pretty much tinker around with it. If you ever have any questions, feel free to message me. My email, here, I'll do one even better for you. Let me go ahead and add a text here. Should have done this in the beginning, but man, I wasn't thinking. All right. All right. So, show y'all another little thing here. That's not long enough. There we go. Alright, so if you have any questions, emails up above the very end of the video, but I'm going to make sure that it's there throughout the next video that I do here momentarily. I'm going to cut it short because this is 30 minutes. I'm going to make another one here showing you how to set up scene sources and whatnot in my next video so that you can have something streaming like before you start playing the game. So give me a few moments. I'm going to set everything up and I'll be back.